Welcome to The Authentic Life with KL, the podcast where we throw out the rule book, where we dive in head first to the real and raw, unapologetic journey of living the best life. That includes lots of music. This is your go-to space for empowerment, for deep healing and owning your authenticity like the boss that you are. We're here to break down walls and slay self-doubt. Vibe to the soundtrack of your soul. With every beat and lyric, we'll move through stories that heal and empower. You can live your fullest and most badass life. Welcome to The Authentic Life with KL. Hey, it's Kitty. Today I have Dale, the singer of Young Other.
Okay, well, thank you for joining me today. What is something about you that maybe other people may not know, just to get to know you a little bit better?
That's a good question. I don't know. I guess I'm a big outside of music. I guess the only sport I really care about is hockey. Maybe that's a cool thing. I'm not a big football guy, not a big baseball guy or basketball. I just grew up on hockey, and that's the only sport that I have time to watch.
Yeah, I know. No, I love to ask those questions because sometimes people are like, I have chickens or, whatever. It's like random stuff. But I think that so many times when you're in a band, people come and see you play music, and it's like you have so much outside of you other than just the music, even though that's such a huge component for you. So you are the singer, yes, of the band Young Other. Can you tell me a little bit about your band and kind of your bandmates?
So we are, we're like we're a modern rock band is what we call ourselves. We got a lot of influences from 80s Metallica from my drummer, Kyle. And then from me, I'm big with the grunge era, Chris Cornell and Lynne are big vocal inspirations for me. Mm-hmm. And then Brandon, our guitarist, he is very much modern day metalcore, I guess, was a big Bring Me the Horizon fan. Yeah. I'm not Bring Me the Horizon. Gold for My Valentine, stuff like that. Very heavy guitar based bands. And Valentine. It's just weird. We all kind of have different backgrounds. And good band.
They are.
Yeah. So we all just kind of came together with that, and but we're kind of like a band that stand on just putting hope back into song lyrics. I feel like today lyrics have gotten so stale and so shallow, and I've always been somebody that's not shallow, so I'm trying to put that back in there and give people a reason to feel. And a lot of our songs are sad but hopeful, but it's in a way to it's in a reality standpoint. You know what I mean? It's not that you're not always going through good times. It's tough sometimes, and but there's always hope. There's always hope of a better day. There's always hope that the sun's going to come out tomorrow. Stuff like that. So that's kind of our message, overall message.
Yeah, no, and I actually talked about this on a different interview that so many times now that the music, everybody does write music from different, some people are just great at painting a story and there's no meaning behind it at all. But I do think that people connect so much more when it is something that is, I guess, authentic, you might say, or something that other people might actually feel like they've gone through. And when I first started the podcast, I was like, does anybody do that anymore? Does anybody care about anybody anymore? And so I really loved, learning about different bands and different lyrics and things like that through, because there really is that out there, even though it seems sometimes that there's not so much.
Mm-hmm.
Have you always wanted to be a musician, or was there a flipping point that made you say, yes, this is absolutely just what I'm going to do?
So when I was 13 years old, I really kind of started connecting with music. And I didn't know why. And that was another big question that kind of I didn't understand at the time until I was a sophomore in high school. I had this English teacher who noticed, during the poetry semester, noticed that I was good at creating metaphors and writing out poetry. And he came up to me and he's like, "Hey, you interested in music at all? Is that something you're interested in?" And I'm like, "Oh, I love music. Yeah. And he's like, "Are you in a band? You play anything?" And I'm like, "Oh no, I'd love to be in a band someday, but I'm not." And he was in a band, so he kind of guided me towards showing that I had some sort of gift. And I ended up finding other friends and stuff who played guitar or different things, and we started kind of writing and stuff. But my whole childhood, my parents put me through sports like baseball and stuff like that, and I was always batting ninth, always playing right field. It was like, come on, I'm not good at this. But eventually, they asked what I wanted to do, and I said, I want to do music, and they really didn't know how to kind of guide me on that, but I just went at it myself, and past kind of 10 years or 10, 15 years has been history, really.
I love that. I love it. Do you play many different instruments?
Oh no, I just sing and I only write lyrics. That's
Gotcha.
like two gifts, but I try to
Yeah.
take care of them.
Yeah, no, I can't. I can't play anything. I just love to sing. I just love music. So that is great. So let's see. When we first spoke, you had said, in the writing back and forth correspondence that young other has been a voice for emotionally driven music that shows a way of hope even through the pain. And we talked even about that just, earlier in the podcast. Can you tell me how music has impacted you through your life, through helping you through the darker times?
Okay. So I guess when I was younger, listening to it really was the uplifting thing. It was like I was listening to something because I didn't really have a lot of friends growing up. I was a bully kid in middle school and high school, and so I didn't really have anybody to kind of relate to. And once I discovered music and was hearing these things, I was like, oh, like this guy's feeling what I'm feeling. Like
Yeah.
like why? And then I started like gravitating towards that more, and I was like, okay, but I understand this. This is something. So that was like the realm of opening to kind of like really connecting with music and lyrics as a whole. But then getting older and learning how to write my own lyrics, it's been like the most therapeutic thing. If there's anything going on in my life or big subjects that I really want to just talk to somebody about, but you get older, everybody else starts having their own life and everything. So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna write about it in a song. Like maybe someday somebody will hear the song and it'll speak to them like it did to me when I was writing it. And it's such a release too. It's like when you sit there and you write it, it's like that's just gone. Like you just like took like a backpack off and you just
Yeah.
done. And I don't know. It's nowadays it's a very therapeutic thing. A lot of the young other songs are solely based off my life experiences.
Mhm.
And I'd probably say like 95% of the songs. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's a I don't know. It's a form of therapy now, I guess.
No, it is. It is. I teach a lot on, well, I work with people through like grief and just finding themselves authentically and just processing trauma and grief and things like that. And one of the things I always tell them is to write letters or write it down. And they're not doing it, necessarily in the form of, say, music per se, but I think that what you just said, it's kind of the same thing. It just kind of clicked when we were talking that I'll say, write a letter and then burn it and just it out to God, universe, source, whatever, just like get it out of your body because then you're like releasing it instead of holding on to it. So I like the way that you put that. Um, so I found myself in a position, of course, I have always trying to help people through things that similarly I've been through. And a lot of those things kind of evolve through grief and trauma and just finding your authentic self and taking off the mask. And usually that involves forgiveness. And I'm going to go into that song for you and kind of ask about that because I find that that is one of the hardest things that we have that we hold on to is forgiveness. Is we hold on to not forgiving, and it's hard. I think it's just as hard to forgive ourselves, as well as the people who have hurt us or the things that we don't understand. And I think that's actually one of the hardest emotions for us to work through. Can you talk to me about that song, guys? Their new song's called Forgiveness.
Yeah,
I listen to it.
it is. I think that song as a whole really speaks
Yeah.
for who I am as a person, who
Mm.
we are growing into as a band. When you're young, you don't get the proper guidance, and that's for everybody. It's just how it is.
Yeah.
When you as you slowly get older, you start understanding like, man, I could have handled that different. I could have done that differently. And you start to see this. And it's, I guess it's a blessing being in a band with people who know how to forgive and know how to, or willing to grow. Because so many people, I feel like they get to 25 years old and just, that's it. They don't like nothing else progresses. They're like, this is who I am. I'm set in my ways. This is it. And it's like, no, like life is so much more when you just when you open up to growth, and you want to learn, and you want to forgive, you want to nurture these friendships and these relationships that you have in your life. And that's what's happened with us in the band. I mean, right now, uh, Brandon and I, so the guitarist and I, we started this project almost 10 years ago, and we have been through anything and everything you could possibly think of together. And I also grew up with him as a kid. You know, we used to be neighbors, and
So you know
was,
each other. You know.
oh yes, yes. So you know, if other people are in the band, they see the relationship that we have, and it's not something that's so common. And you know, we're able to fight, but we're able to, you know, find that middle ground and just build up on it and be like, hey, you know, man, like the next day, like, hey, I'm sorry, like, you know, this is what's going on in my life right now. And you know, we all come to a place of understanding. And it's hard. It's hard. I mean, people can seriously wrong you in a lot of ways, and it's hard to forgive them, especially if there's no kind of closure, or the closure that you're looking for. But when you find it in your heart to even just let go of that, and it becomes easy. And a lot of it, I guess, from my realm is religious. I'm a Catholic, and growing in my faith has been huge over the past like 4 years of my life. And this year alone, I've just have overcome so much. And this kind of ties into when I lost one of my best friends. I've been carrying that pain for over 10 years of my life, and I just never wanted to let go of it. And it's not in like a why would you do this kind of thing, but in a way that's I'm just holding on to that pain just because I wanted to keep that feeling around, because that's all I had left. And that's not, yeah. And, you know, I know that he would want me to forgive that, and to heal and to let that go. And it's been a challenge. Like this whole year is just like, you have really good days. It's like, I'm finally like pinpointing that and to working on it. But it's like, you have good days, and then sometimes you just like, this is hard. This is hard to let go of something that you've just kind of like held on to for so long. But forgiveness is finally seeing it in you, like all the things that you've done wrong, and looking at the things that people have done wrong. And when you've done these wrong things, it's like you weren't old enough to understand what you're doing. Like you didn't understand the weight that your actions were pursuing on people, or the words that you said that were affecting people negatively. And you know, that you reflect that right back to the people who've done certain things to you, and it's like, I guarantee you they didn't understand what they were saying. It's like they're going to go through something in life. They're going to be like, wow, man, I should have never said that to that guy because he was a really good, genuine person. It's a big thing. It's I feel like we lost it as like a where we are in society nowadays, with just how quick you're like, oh well, I can go hang out with these guys, and you know, they're in my little online group or something, because you could just make friends so easy online. But when it comes to the people that are actually there for you, you know, you have to build that foundation, and that costs like laying your stuff on the table and just building collectively, meeting each other halfway.
Yeah, no, it's really hard, I think, in just relationships in general, especially just, I would say close-knit relationships of people that you've known for a long time, because they know you the longest and they know all your crap. And so like, you know, I probably shouldn't have said that to you. And I think self-reflection is so interesting, because it really is a mirror, you know, so many times. Like if you don't see it, don't worry, someone else will reflect it back to you at some point. You're gonna eventually like see it back. So I definitely think that that's a huge thing. And forgiveness is something that I think people don't realize that it's for you, and as now you're like, I'm trying to let go of this grief, and it's so heavy, but it's for us ultimately. And so many times people think if you forgive that person, then that means, um, in a lot of circumstances, it means that what they did was okay. And it's like, no, it doesn't mean that it's okay. It just means I accept it for what it is. And I can't let that control my life anymore. And I think that's one of the hardest
Mm.
things with the forgiveness, is that we hang on to those things because it's one of the last things kind of that we have that's controllable that we have, and that's hard to let go of. So
And what you just said at the end there, like that's exactly it. We all find these things where it's like, well, I can control this pain. I can control this
yeah,
anger and this hatred that I have towards that person. It's like, why do you want to sit on that? Like,
yeah,
if you let go of it, you just become free. And it's like when you start figuring that out, it's like all of these opportunities and this
yeah.
whole new life is waiting for you right on the other side of that.
Hmm.
And it's but it's a hard thing. It's like you have to, there's gonna be tears, there's gonna be times where
Oh,
you're screaming at the sky. It's like
right.
it's a tough process, but it's so worth it. It is
Yeah.
so worth it.
Has your life significantly, how do I say this? Has your life significantly changed since you started working on forgiveness? Because I always think that I like to think of it as like when we don't forgive, we're full up. And so we can't receive anything else. But if we'll let go of that, it opens up a little bit of space to receive something else. Has that changed significantly for you, just personally and, on other levels?
Oh yeah, yeah. When you like I've had tough experiences in my early 20s and stuff like that, and learning how to just be like, it is what it is. Like there's
Yeah.
there's no why are you trying to fight this? Why are you trying to fight the way that things are going? Like just let it be. And something, I guess, for me, I truly believe that God won't take anything away from you without giving you something so much better.
Yeah.
And being able to look back at my life, like that's happened every single time. And it's like and once you become of age to just start seeing these
Yeah.
patterns, it's just like, oh my gosh, like why am I so worked up about these things are so in pain? Like it's just like a distraction at that point where it's just like, hey, I forgive you. I see what you did to me, and
Mhm.
it's like, yes, it's like it shaped a part of me, but like I forgive you, but I'm not I'm not gonna sit here in this anger. I'm gonna keep going
Yeah.
on with my life, and there's gonna be no kind of animosity. It's like, there might be, you're not gonna go reach out to that person and be like, hey, let's
Yeah.
go out to eat. But like
Yeah.
it's a level of like knowing that that person could also change 10 years down the road
Yeah.
and be a completely different person. And that's a whole nother
Yeah.
topic of
I will
discussion.
love you from all the way across the world. I just
Yeah.
don't need to be close to you right now, for sure.
Hmm.
No. Do you have a song that you've written that means more to you than others, like on a personal level?
That is released, or
Either however you want to go at it.
I have a lot. Like
Yeah.
like I said earlier, like 95% of these are like based on
Yeah.
my life. But there's a few unreleased songs that are like that I wrote last year that are very much an inside look to my life. And one of them I wrote about my grandmother. And that one is like as honest can be.
Yeah.
Um, and I think between the few is also a core and forgiveness. I mean, both of those songs are like probably like the released ones that are like the most profound for me. Um, just between the few was I was 23 when I wrote that, and I was going through a big life change, and yeah, just talks about understanding that you have to make some mistakes in life. You have to learn how to relate to the things in your life, and you just got to go through it. You just got to go through the
Mhm.
mud, and on the other side, the light is on the other side of what you're going through. And that was like when I wrote that song, it was like, oh my gosh, like this is something, and it's still our biggest song today. So it's like it's pretty. It speaks to a lot of people, which is cool.
Very impactful.
But forgiveness is definitely like the change of heart that I've had since over the past 4 years. Like has been uh, one of the healthiest things that I've encountered, and
Mhm.
I'm just happy to be on this path, really.
Yeah, yeah. I look at songs so much in my life, and I'm not even, like I said, an artist that writes songs or anything like that. But do you kind of have these different moments whenever you're going through your songs that these are different, um, different just books in your life or chapters in your life, since most of your songs that you write are about your life? Do you feel that way sometimes?
Oh yeah, I
Just
like
different
the whole.
chapters.
It's really cool. I like it because my dad actually just said to me the other day. He was like, he's like, how cool is it that you have all these songs that are coming out at different points in your life, and when you're gone, they're there. And
Yeah,
I thought about that when I was a kid. I was like, I wanted to, as a teenager, I wanted to leave something behind. But over the past like 8 years, I completely forgot about
yeah,
that these are going to be here when I'm gone. And it is chapters of my life. Like, I guess
yeah,
one day if I have kids, like they're going to be able to listen to the first EP that we
yeah.
put out and listen up to the stuff that we've been going through. And it's
Mhm.
going to tell the story of, I mean, our lives, like at least
Yeah,
the people who've been in the band and stuff. And it's cool. It is really cool.
yeah. It captures moments.
I've written a lot of songs that have been like foreshadowing in a
Mhm.
way of my
Yeah,
life, and I kind of get scared sometimes when I write some of these songs. I'm like, dude, I swear, like, please don't, like, please don't happen. But like, so our song "Change Everything" that we dropped earlier this year, back in April.
mhm.
I wrote that song in 2019 when Kyle left the band. Kyle left the band to go to college and focus on himself and just trying to figure out who he's at in life and everything like this. So 5 years of time went by, and he rejoined the band, and I wrote that song about him. I wrote that song about like having to go through this change because he helped me. I mean, me and Kyle were so close when we first started things back up in 2018. When he joined the band, and I was like, "Mom, this kid's one of my best friends," and it like broke my heart that he was leaving. And for it to just full circle, and that was the first song we dropped this year. I was like, "You can't make this up, man. You just
Yeah,
you can't make it up."
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, that's like a foreshadow moment.
Yeah, no, and you never know what's going to happen. That is, I think, the most interesting thing about our life is that we spend so much time focusing and stressing on things that we really have no idea if it's going to happen. We have absolutely, truly no idea. Nobody really does where it's going to all land and end and circle back to. So it's a fun
Mhm.
journey if we can appreciate the journey. A lot of times we do not. We don't. Oh,
It is tough, and it's crazy because like when you're going through the tough times too,
mhm,
it's like you just like want it to be over.
mhm.
And I had a terrible year last year, and I mean the band was on a hiatus. It was just a very tough year, even with my job and different things that I was on in life. Um, a lot of isolation and stuff. And looking back at that, it's like I look at all the songs I wrote last year. I look at all the things that I've learned and who I am today, and it's like, man, if I didn't go through all of that, if every single thing that happened didn't happen, I would not be who I am right now and have experienced everything that I went through. And it's
Yeah.
like you really do end up like being grateful for even the tough chapters in life because it brings you to the right people, it brings you to the right places. It's all part of the journey.
It is, and we don't. This next month, I'm teaching on gratefulness with my community that I teach in, and one of the things is we never look at how far where we came from. We only look at like, why isn't this working? Why isn't this? But we rarely stop to look at how like our starting point of where we were to where we are now, and we don't have that gratefulness for it because we're like, why isn't it here, or what's going on, why is it so bad? But if you look at where you started, if you're on this journey of self-growth, it's crazy the difference that you see when you do reflect on it.
Oh yeah. It's yeah, I've learned how to be very grateful. It's just for every aspect. And
Yeah.
I didn't think I was going to play any shows this year. I've played uh, three, and I'm about to play another one next year, next weekend. And I was like, two of those are Worcester Palladium, which is like a big iconic venue up
Mm,
here, and I have never played the Palladium at all before this. Like
mm,
it's so it was like, what is like that's pretty
yeah.
cool. I mean, we won a competition, Battle of the Bands, in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, to play Gettysburg Bike Week next year. And it's
Nice.
like this is
Yeah.
it's like okay, yeah, it's not the crazy stuff that we used to do, but like we're in the slow building moments. But I'm like, this is all still monumental stuff that like we haven't really done before, and it's like I got to be grateful for this. Like
Yeah. And
it's
you're
tough to forget.
building, yeah, you're building when you're still, that's when you're building usually. And it's not happening at that moment, but it
Yep.
is like building that momentum. Um,
Yep.
so what's coming up for you?
Got we got one more song that we're going to be dropping this year. Very, very excited for the song. It is a song that is written about somebody who was sent overseas to fight for our country and comes back with PTSD. So it's a very highlighted veteran song. Um, I'm very excited to we wrote this song in like 2016 and we're finally releasing it. So I'm very excited that it's getting out. It's probably one of the heavier tracks that we released this year. Then after that, we're gonna be just gearing up for next year, trying to start booking some shows for like April. We're gonna be doing a lot of writing this winter. We're gonna hunker down and just start writing the next chapter of music out, which I'm super excited for. Just this time of year, the season change comes
Yeah.
in. You're like, man, I just want to like sit in my dark room and
Yeah.
and write because it's like seasonal depression. It's just like it's cold, so I don't do anything. But I'm excited to write and just see what we're gonna come up with. Like Kyle's back and just that the three original people that we had back in 2018 are just here, and it's like let's just write, man. Let's just write about our lives. Like
Love that.
I'm excited.
I
I'm
love
excited.
that. I'm gonna end it on this. If someone you knew or didn't know comes to you and they are struggling in a very dark time in their life, what are some words of wisdom or advice that you might give to them that may help?
I would tell them, hold on, hold on, because it's you don't know where you're at when you're at rock bottom. And for me, I personally like not all the time. Like I like not having to be at rock bottom, but I kind of enjoy being at rock bottom for certain reasons. I feel like it's like you're almost at like when you do a control alt delete on a computer, like before you log in, you see all the like code stuff. Like I feel like that's where you're at when you're at rock bottom.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like where I feel closest to God. I feel like the closest to being able to pinpoint a direction in my life where it's just like I'm gonna focus on this like right now, or I want to take this time to better myself, or let that be a motivation to move you to move you forward. And because everything does get better, it gets better than you can imagine, and giving up is just not should never be on the table, no matter what it is. Whether it's like you're pursuing music, or you're pursuing painting, or you're pursuing a career in real estate, or anything like, or you're trying to go to become a doctor or something. Like never give up, because it will get hard. Like all the stuff that comes in your path to challenge you along the way is like a test to see if you're willing to make it to that. And that test gives you the tools to keep going. And it's an amazing thing. But yeah, I'd say hold on and just keep pushing through, because it does get better. And I wish I could have told that to Tyler at the time, when we were just kids. Who was one of my best friends. He was in my first band, and he took his life. And we were just we were just a group of kids who always got bullied, and just the outcasts, I guess. We're the kids that wear black and like rock music, and just
What
stuff
we
like
call
that.
the
And
cool
it
kids.
was
What we
yeah,
call the cool
yes,
kids.
oh yes, definitely the cool kid. And it just it was he was going through a lot of different things in his life too, and I just wish I just can't imagine what we could have done together, where he'd be in life right now. Because I know amazing things would have happened. He could have started a family. He could have been, we could have been playing these shows together. We could have been doing all this stuff. And that's always my reminder of just being like, man, you just got to keep going for him. Like actually, Young Other, the band name is about him. So every time I think about Tyler, he's 15 years old and he's the young other. So everywhere we go and we see our name on
He's
flyers and
always
stuff like
with
that.
you. He's
Yeah,
always
I
with you.
love
I
that.
love that. I love that.
Yep.
That is so impactful. And again, had that not happened, as tragic as it was, you just wouldn't be who you are
Oh
today.
yeah.
Um, yeah, there's,
It shaped my whole, it like, I could relive that day, that whole month,
yeah,
like on just like every fine detail. It's scary, but,
yeah,
um, it just shocked me. Like, I think it pushed me to growing, into just
yeah,
being a better person and understanding why I'm doing music. Like, why am I doing this? And it's not for me. Like, it's definitely not for me, because if it was for me, I don't know if I'd be doing
I
it.
feel that. No,
But
I feel that. No, I
like, yeah.
experienced the loss of my brother several years ago, and so many times people don't get like that you're not the same person after something like that happens, that you truly are a different person. But I wouldn't be the woman I am today had it not happened. And so it's like I'm grateful. I'm sad always, like I always miss him, but it's like I'm so grateful to go through that experience, because there's so many people like you, who have had these tragedies, and we're here to be able to make a difference and help them know they're not alone. And that's really, I think, what it's all about. So,
Mhm. And the beauty of getting older is being able to have this experience and share it to
yeah,
the younger generations, because they're going to go through the same thing like that we are. We're just on like different time cycles here. And it's
yeah,
like, it's an inevitable thing,
yeah,
with hardships and just,
it is.
um, but being able to be brave enough to speak on these things like
Yeah,
you are, and just it's it changes people.
yeah, no, no, I appreciate you coming on and talking about it, because I know that it really does impact people. And no matter what side of it that you're on, if you struggle with depression or anxiety, or you've lost, or, whatever, life is just, there's so many unknowns. And I think that if we could talk more about these things and it not be the thing we don't talk about, I think more people would realize a lot of
Mhm.
these struggles are more normal. It's normal. It's everybody just hides it so much. So, but
I think social media kind of came into a play on that, especially with this younger generation, because you look at, all these, everybody's
mm,
following their favorite artists or the favorite celebrities or whatever. And you're just seeing the perfect, or anybody really, the
yeah,
people you went to high school with, you see all the best highlights of their life. So you're just like,
yeah,
man, what am I doing? Because I'm not getting there. I
yeah,
don't have that. And it's a blessing and a curse, but,
yeah.
it's it's never sunny days all the time in anybody's life.
Mhm.
There's battles that you're not seeing in everybody's life.
Yeah. Yeah. There's lots of those yucky days, but that makes you appreciate the good ones, right? So, well,
Very, very true. Because if we didn't have those, we wouldn't.
And I say that all the time. It's like if we didn't have the crappy days or the dark days or the sad days, we would absolutely not appreciate the joy that we try to cultivate constantly, because we wouldn't know the difference. And
Well,
so
yeah,
yeah,
I was gonna say, how are we gonna know what a good day is?
yeah,
So
yeah.
it is a good.
No, it is, and it should be seen as such, but even we have to remind ourselves that sometimes. So, right?
I'm on that same page.
I know. Well, I was like, I'm teaching you guys, but it doesn't mean that I always follow what I teach. I still struggle too. It's okay. So, yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of The Authentic Life with KL, where we explore the powerful intersection of healing and music. If you enjoyed today's episode, please give a follow and share with your friends. You can find more information about The Authentic Life with KL and Kitty Lynne at kittylynne.com, KITTYLYNNE.com. Thanks so much for listening.